Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Ageless Blessings with Brenda Pierce. You've come to the right place for candid conversations, inspiration, and empowerment. Join me with my very special guests as we bring you media that matters on the Divas That Care network. For more about the Divas and to listen to various podcasts, visit www.divasthatcare.com. Now let's get on with the show.
Hi, and welcome to Ageless Blessings Radio with your host, Brenda Pierce. I am the Empowered Nurse, and I'm pleased to be with you all today on the Ageless Blessings Radio show on the Divas That Care network. So my special guest today is Jean Brannon, and we are so happy to have her here because she's going to be sharing tips on wellness from the bottoms-down perspective. Jean uses metaphysical and Eastern mysticism concepts as tools to help people become self-empowered. Her dream is to give ancient wisdom and new thought ideas a voice in popular culture. She is working on the second chakra book in the Ancient Ways to Wellness series. She is a licensed acupuncturist, and Jean explores the fascinating connection between little-known lower body chakras and our self-limiting beliefs in pants down, how the trousers to toes chakras can help you keep you turned on, tuned in, and toned up. In this mini book, she dives deeper than the well-known 7 chakras to discover how these powerful energy centers can empower you to better vitality. Using ancient tools from Buddhism and Hinduism, as well as modern brain science, Brannon shares tips and tools she has developed during her more than 20 years of clinical practice to help you break through these constricted beliefs and live a more expansive life. In this conversation, we're going to talk about examining how your lower body chakras have evolved and their effect on us, learn how emotion and memory can cause unwanted behaviors, and tap into and balance the trousers to toes chakras for a greater sense of well-being. For more information, you can check out her book and check out all her information at www.jeanbrannon.com. That's JeanBrannon.com. And right now, before we get into the conversation, we're going to have a minute of silence in remembrance for the 9/11 disaster and all those who sacrificed and lost their lives. So hang on, and let's sit in silence and send our prayers. And with that, I'm pleased to welcome Jean Brannon. Hi, Jean.
Oh, good morning, Brenda. How are you?
I am fabulous and very happy to connect with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just great. I really am. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. And on this very special occasion of 9/11, it's really important to promote healing because there's been enough pain and enough people have suffered. So I think a healing show for today is perfect. And as you are a licensed acupuncturist with many years of experience, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about how yourself and how you got into acupuncture and the East meets West cultural beliefs.
Well, so my journey into acupuncture was kind of a long one. So when I was in undergrad, I was studying advertising and journalism. And so my initial career was in the corporate world. And not long after getting into the corporate world, I started having a lot of low back pain. And somebody that I worked with said, hey, I went for acupuncture and it really helped my pain, so maybe you could try that. So in my early 20s, I went for an acupuncture session and I was blown away. Not only was it very helpful for my particular pain condition, but I was struck by how at home I felt in the acupuncturist's office. I loved the low lights. I loved the incense that was burning. I loved the music. I loved the whole sacred approach, really. It's what it felt like to me with the insertion of the needles and just everything, the therapeutic touch, everything for me just, it really resonated and it really helped me. And so at that point, really during my first session, I was saying to myself, wow, this would really be a great second career. But, you know, I was on that path of this other path of service, and it took me a while to really embrace that, you know, I kind of feel like I'm a Taoist at heart and always have been. Taoism is the roots of Chinese medicine. So I lived in New York at the time, and I truly went to all of the local schools. I went to many open houses. I was so inspired. I just wanted to sign up, and I wrestled with myself for a long time because I just wondered, can I do my career, and then at the end of the day, am I going to be motivated and be able to bring my full heart into studying, you know, having tests and exams and trying to take in all of this wonderful information? Am I going to be able to do that and, you know, get very little sleep for a number of years?
Yeah.
So
many of us grapple with that, don't we? We have our job and want to do our Zen thing, and
yes, exactly. I totally understand it, and I know that I went through a lot of that for a number of years because I have great empathy for anybody that's looking to make a career shift, or, you know, if they're just looking for some sort of change in their lives. I get it. I really do. And, you know, what I also know to be true is that if it's your path, that door is going to open in one way or another. And so it may have taken me a while to open that door, but when I finally did, my whole life really has evolved and changed, and I can honestly say that I am lit up by what I do on a day-to-day basis, and acupuncture is not really a profession for me. It's a lifestyle, and it's just, you know, it's just something that I just feel from head to toe. And I just embody it, and I'm grateful for it because I feel that's my home. That is really where I'm at home, and I like to be able to hold that space for other people. So yeah, that's my journey. It took me a while, but now that I'm here, I'm happy.
Well, this is the whole thing because, you know, in today's modern world, there are a lot of hurting people out there. And I know myself as a nurse who was boots on the floor. I took an office job, and my back just killed me after 3 or 4 weeks. So, you know, we're meant to be moving. We're not meant to be sedentary creatures. But those that have that kind of a job, you know, it's really important. And even people who are in the healthcare field, we do a lot of twisting and lifting and, you know, and factory workers, you know, safety is more of a key nowadays. But the thing is, once you have an issue, you know, you have to honor and respect it because it's there telling you, it's talking to you about your body. But the thing is, in the healthcare world, you know, we deal with a lot of opioids, and the opioid crisis right now is immense in terms of pharmaceutical opioids and, of course, the street drugs, and those are all, you know, masking some type of pain. But to do something that is more zen, more holistic, more, well, actually effective because you're actually working at the cell level with the person and their body and creating synergy, you know, it's something that people have to really look at today. You know, it used to be, oh, well, that's acupuncture. Look at all those silly needles and how's that work? But there's a greater appreciation and understanding for what you're doing, and to be where you are doing what you're doing and is just wonderful when you hear somebody who made the switch who's actually living their dream, and it's wonderful for you.
Well, thank you. Well, you know, to speak to that opioid crisis and just how many people are hurting in the world, you know, acupuncture is a very old and deep and broad practice. It's been around for thousands of years, and truly, if there wasn't something to it, It would have died out a long, long time ago. And
agreed.
Right? And so I really believe that it has its place in helping people to get out of pain. Because pain, from a Chinese medicine perspective, we don't separate mind and body at all. And how we look at things, physical pain only manifests when we've been given a message that the emotional body is needing attention. It's crying out. There are some unresolved emotions, or there's a spiritual crisis at hand, and we just haven't been listening. So the knock at the door tends to get louder and louder and louder until we listen. And when I work with pain patients, you know, one of the first things I will do is I will talk to them about, hey, have you considered that there's a message in this for you? Have you asked for the message behind the pain? Because if we get the message, if we really get the message and then embrace what it is that we're being asked to do in terms of moving forward in life in a more balanced and healthy way, then the pain really has no more reason for existing. And so what I find when people actually reach that place, that's where sometimes miraculous healings occur. Sometimes helpful people will show up, or, oh, I've never heard of this modality before, but, oh, I'm going to try this type of massage. And wow, one session, and I feel so much better. And that's just because the person is finally in a place where they can hear what the pain is really all about. And so to me, I think if we can just start looking at pain differently, people are hurting. We are globally hurting. The collective consciousness is holding a lot of pain, right? So how do we fix that? Is it about focusing on the pain? No, it's actually about, can we accept that this is just a message that is trying to be delivered? And if we can treat it like a message trying to be delivered, we can look at it differently with fresh eyes, with different solutions, and getting people out of the fear of it, because I don't believe it needs to be feared. I think, you know, it sort of takes the onus off a little bit if you can look at pain and say, you know what, please don't be afraid of that. It's just a natural occurrence when we haven't really been listening to what we need to be doing in these physical vessels. It's just natural. So if we start listening, the pain is going to subside. And people, once they really can see that happening, then they start trusting. And so everything unfolds in a more positive way. That's at least what I've found.
Well, and that's a beautiful way of looking at it, because in the Western medical model, it's symptom management. And so it's numbing and dumbing down the pain with pharmaceuticals that have only been around for a couple of decades, or, 50, 60 years at the most, and as opposed to the ancient wisdom of acupuncture. So, there is great merit and benefit to actually addressing and facing that pain face on, and being, like you say, looking for the message that is there. And oftentimes it's a real serious 2x4 knock on the head, because it when you open the door and actually give yourself the chance to breathe and realize that there's more to this world and this life experience, and our purpose is more than just being a drone and fitting into society in a specific way. So I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom on that. So, Jean, the whole idea about the chakras, I'm sure that was a whole new concept to you as well when you started to explore this Eastern medicine world. And I'd love to have you talk to your perspective on the chakras and why it's so important for us to look at the pants-down perspective to wellness and addressing all those. Well, we know there's two main chakras, but there's thousands of chakras in our body from the waist down. What is your insight on that?
Well, so I studied chakras long before I ever became an acupuncturist, because in all of this time that that I was in the corporate world, I was making little endeavors into a holistic career. Something that I knew, okay, I'm not going to have to right off the bat devote 4 years to this and all of this intense study. So, I became a colon hydrotherapist. I became a crystal healer. I became a massage therapist. I have a lot of those types of tools under my belt, and I was exposed early on energetically to the idea of the chakras. And for me, it really just made sense, because if we consider, what chakras are, they're basically these little spinning wheels of energy in our body. And these are places that energy can pool and collect so that it can be directed powerfully where it needs to be directed. One of the troubles with chakras is that when they get blocked up or there's some kind of imbalance going on, that indicates we're holding on to something. We are perhaps not fully processing an emotion that needs to be processed. We are wrestling with a decision, and we're not really committed to making that decision yet. There are a number of ways that our energy can get tangled up, but it tends to get tangled up in a particular area of the body that corresponds to where the biggest local chakra is. And so if we talk about, chakras from the lower body perspective, in Pants Down, I started addressing things from the third chakra down. And so the third chakra is the first chakra found below the heart level. And that's the center of our will. And so in so many ways, in this existence, in this country at least, what I see day in and day out in the treatment room, so many of us are caught up in terms of being a human doing as opposed to a human being. We're pushing. We're out there trying to make it happen. It's not happening fast enough, so we have to push harder. And pushing harder inevitably comes from the third chakra, where we are imposing our will on a situation. It's like, well, I'm not content with holding a space and accepting that maybe divine timing is a little different than mine. Nope, no way. I'm going to be pushing this through, and I'm going to be, I needed that yesterday, so guess what? I'm going to push for 30 minutes from now. And so that's the energetic structure that a lot of us walk around with. So when I see that in people, a lot of times, first of all, they're exhausted. They feel burned out. They have a basic distrust of life, that anything will unfold in any which way. So there's almost this panic sensation. I have to push or nothing will happen. So if we work with balancing the third chakra, what I have found is if we can shift somebody's perspective, because it's always how you look at things that begins the energetic shift from something that maybe we perceive as a little more negative into the positive. And so with that third chakra, if we can get that balance a little bit better, then maybe the question is, well, did I really need this yesterday? That's my ego. That is my will. Well, what if we open up for discussion and possibility? What if we open up to what the divine will may be for my life? What if I can actually just try to trust and allow for the universe to present to me in divine timing what's really best? I'll just keep focusing on what it is that I'd really love to have and what makes me happy and what lights me up to think about it. But let me just kind of rest in that and take a break from all of this pushing. Now, for diehard pushers, and I have to say I am a reformed pusher. I have my moments of relapse. So I get this one. I really get this. You know what? I'm a Capricorn. I can't help it. I was born this way. So it was a task I came in to learn how to better manage. So, if I can learn it, then I'm really hoping that I can help other people. But
for sure. I'm a Taurine, so yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, you know what? You guys, you are the supreme pushers of everybody, so
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. And my roots are Belgian, and the Belgians are known as pushers. So, I've got that double thick neck, and so I get it, too, because I really had to reform my ways.
Right. Well, see, there you go. But see, look, we can learn. If we can learn, anybody can learn.
Anybody. Love it. But you are right. Yes, we live in this fast food world, and when you turn on TV, an episode has its beginning, middle, and end all in 30 minutes or less, and so we are really driven by our constructs of society today to be pushers and the whole feminist movement and all this sort of thing that's been going on. But I love the concept that the chakras, especially the third chakra, just settle in, relax, and let it be. Like the Beatles song, "Let It Be."
Yes.
I really lean on that because it is true. When you do make that change, the whole world looks different, acts different, feels different, and you are different. So I love it.
Well, for sure. And, in pants down, so I have a progression starting with the third, and then I go down to the second and the first, and then all the way down the legs. But speaking to your point about feminism, it just makes me think of the second chakra and how divine feminine power is something that we have lost sight of in a lot of ways in this patriarchal world. And so what I really like to help people work with, male or female, because I feel we all need a reconnection to the divine feminine. And the divine feminine is the perfect antidote for a pusher. Because if we can sink into that, if we can sink into that second chakra, into our being state, because feminine power does not push. Feminine power attracts. It draws to it by its very essence of being all that it is and complete unto itself. And so it creates this magnetic attraction so that anything that is needed is just brought into the equation. So, true feminine power is soft and gentle, but it's not weak. And I really feel that is one of the reasons that patriarchal power has come into being so prominently for such a long time in this world. It's dangerous if you think of a woman, say, in her power, that she can, just by her way of being, that is actually stronger than all the pushers put together. And so I actually love that concept because I feel if all of us energetically could just make a practice every day, even starting the day with just dropping into either our balanced queen or our balanced king, whatever feels right for the moment. But dropping into that balanced male and female blending of energies is a great way to just hold one's center and to be calm and be able to stay in a positive frame of mind while walking through whatever external chaos presents itself. And to me, the more people we can get on board with just sinking into individual self-empowerment, it's going to benefit the world exponentially. I absolutely believe that.
I amen to that. I think that's exactly the thing. It doesn't have to be a one-side concept or one-size-fits-all, but just really sinking into our beingness. And going from the doingness to beingness is a huge transitional leap, and I love what you just shared.
Oh, well, I really feel that. I feel it passionately, and I see as people do that, everything can change. Even someone's face can change within seconds once they start sinking into all of the beauty of who they are. Their color sometimes will completely change. They will get this rosy glow. Their eyes soften, but get this really knowing light. I truly love seeing that in the treatment room, and it is a universal thing. It's not something that we need to learn. It's something we need to remember because inherently we all know this at the very depths of our core. We know that we are connected and that the pushing is this external thing that has developed because of the collective consciousness, really. And, we've been taught and, we need to make it happen. But no, we really don't. We really don't. So yeah.
Beautiful. Especially on in remembrance of today and 9/11, this lessons that you're bringing forth are just the transition of time and the need to really not be into that pushing mode that causes so much chaos, and the beingness of just reflecting the true essence of who we are and the gifts that we can share and the beauty of the world that can be around us. I just love what you've just shared. It's amazing.
Well, I was in New York when 9/11 happened, and I can tell you there are so many hero stories that people will never even know about. But in the midst of external chaos, there were so many people that literally just found their inner power, and they were just divinely guided, and people just helping people. Priorities became very clear very quickly. And to me, that's what I like to focus on a day like this, is having gratitude for the human spirit. Because in the midst of tragedy, more often than not, we really rise to the best of who we are. And so that to me, it's very sacred and it's very special. It really is.
Yes, and especially being there at that time, and yes, I can't imagine what it was like that day. But yes, you saw the best of people. Their second chakra really rose to the surface during that time, and people really just went into, it didn't matter. It didn't matter who you were, what job you had, what economic status you had at that time. We were all on the same level plane at that time, and second chakra living actually, was very apparent. So, and Jean, our conversation is just about done. We only have a half an hour, and I just want it went by so fast, and
yes,
your wisdom
did.
is so amazing, so beautiful. And I just want to tell people how they can get a hold of you and how they can get a hold of Pants Down, how the Trousers to Toes chakras can help you keep you turned on, tuned in, and toned up.
So I often will direct people to the publisher's website, which is absolutelovepublishing.com, because either Pants Down or the fiction book that I wrote, Atlantis Rising, you can just click on the name of the title, and all of the links for purchasing are right there on that one website. So if you want to buy from Amazon or Barnes & Noble or whatever your particular vendor is that you would like to support, you can click on it and find it right there. Otherwise, you can go directly to Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Apple iBooks, there are a number of venues that are carrying these books. And so that would be one way. And then if anyone wants to get in touch with me directly, the www.jeanbrannon.com is a great way. I love emails. I love, if people just have questions or anything like that, I just love engaging dialogue and discussions. And, we're all here to uplift each other. And my sheer intention is to just be able to uplift and support and empower as many people as possible. So please reach out. If you feel inspired, I'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And you have inspired me with our wonderful conversation that we've had today. I just love your concepts, what you've been bringing forward, your take on the chakras and the divine feminine and masculine. And I want to thank you so very much for being a wonderful addition to our podcast series, and many blessings to you, Jean.
Oh, Brenda, thank you so much. I'm just so honored to be here and on this special day, and thank you for opening this opportunity to me. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, great. Many blessings and much love to you. And everyone, remember, you are loved and you are loved. You are blessed and you are a blessing. Have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Ageless Blessings with Brenda Pierce. The views and opinions have been those of the participants and are not to be taken as medical advice. For more Ageless Blessings, visit www.facebook.com/agelessblessings. Until next time, have a wonderful body, mind, and spirit-filled week.